Hi, I'm Justin, and this is the Toronto Gamers board game review. Today I'll be reviewing Codenames, a party game for 2 to 8 people from Czech Games by designer Vlada Hviatil. He is known for such great games as Galaxy Trucker, Dungeon Lords, Space Alert, and a whole ton of others. He's a fantastic designer you should definitely check out if you haven't heard of him. The premise is that two rival spy masters know the secret identities of 25 agents, and they must help their team make contact with these operatives by giving them one-word clues. For example, if three of your operatives' code names were Olympus, Centaur, and Mermaids, you can give the clue Mythology 3, mythology being the one-word clue, and 3 letting your team know that 3 operatives pertain to this clue. However, if one of the opposing team's operatives had the code name Valhalla, for example, your team might guess that card or make contact with that agent instead of yours and end up revealing that agent, thus giving a point to the other team. You have to make contact with all of your agents before the other team makes contact with all of theirs, while trying not to help the other team reveal their agents, but with incorrect guesses, and also trying to avoid the assassin at the same time. We won't be going into details of the rules and gameplay in our review, so if you want to get more information, we have links to the official rules and a tutorial video just below, right down there. Just click. Woo, rules tutorial. The game comes with a deck of double-sided component cards, a deck of layout cards, so you can determine which agents are on which team. Also, it comes with markers for members of the blue team, the red team, civilians, and the assassin. There's also a timer as well, which doesn't really get used. The components are made well, and there are plenty of cards, so your games will have a lot of variance between the different code names available and the different layouts. One thoughtful detail is that the code names are written for 2 different orientations. So you can read it this way, or from the other side of the table, you can also read it from there. So it's nice if you've got more people around the table, so more people can more easily read those code names. There's also a free companion app available on iOS, Windows, Amazon, Android, and it helps you generate random key cards, gives you different timer options for a bit of variety. Though again, whenever I've played, we've tended to ignore the timer, playing in a more relaxed fashion. According to the rules, you can use a timer when you feel someone is getting a little slow, taking a little too much time, but for the most part, it's a component that's not really used. The theme of trying to connect with spies from their code names is basically pasted on. I mean, it works, it doesn't detract from anything, but when you're playing, you kind of forget the fact that you're trying to make contact with agents via code names, as opposed to just treating it like a party word game. And don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing. You get so wrapped up in the game, and it is so well done and so straightforward that the theme isn't really a big part of it. It's not what brings you in. It's the great gameplay. It's the great fun of giving these clues and connecting with your teammates and trying to figure out how they're going to think. It's hard to talk about a strategy versus luck balance because while the game does involve strategic choice when you're talking about which clues you decide to give, who's on your team, what knowledge and reference they have, the cards you're given are random, the layouts are random, and depending on who's on your team, each person will have different ideas of which clues to give. One player could be an excellent spy master for one team and a horrible spy master for another. If you have a lot of pop culture knowledge, but your team has a lot of literary knowledge, your references may not necessarily connect. But that's the fun of it, is finding out what's going to work and what doesn't. While I haven't played with the 2 or 3 player variants, I have played with more than the 8 players recommended, and I have to say for the most part it really still works. It's been a wonderful warm-up game and filler game in my group because people can come in and exit at any point. One downside, however, of putting too many players in Codenames is that some teammates may end up getting a little overpowered by other teammates' discussions. They may end up sitting in the back, not necessarily participating because other teammates are a little more overbearing. So it depends on the makeup. It can work with more than 8. That is just something to watch out for. Overall, I love Codenames. Personally, my favorite part is being the Spy Master and thinking of how I can make great sets for my team. It's a fantastic mix of casual fun and strategy that appeals to a lot of players, and it's simple enough. You can explain the rules to new players in 5 minutes. Each game is so different because you have a variety of cards, and they're short enough that I always end up playing a few rounds in a row because we're having so much fun. That said, you do want to be careful about picking your Spy Master because not everyone will feel comfortable or do well in that role, as it can be a bit of pressure, and a Spy Master who's struggling or feeling stuck can really impact the enjoyment of the game. I'd also watch out for wallflower players and try to encourage them to get in on the guessing so they don't feel left out. I love how you get to be creative with the clues and that the codename cards give you enough structure that most players won't feel stranded. If you have, say, a partner or a group of friends who don't really play a lot of games and you want to share a bit of your hobby with them, Codenames is a fantastic choice because of the structured creativity, simple rules, and the team aspect all work well for those new gamers. And it still has enough strategy that experienced gamers can find a lot of depth in it. Codenames is my current go-to party game. It's so well designed and it's just different enough from other offerings on the market that I would definitely recommend it for any collection.